Actually, that one started more than 30 years ago when I was in internship for prosthodontics, and I was just a brand new dentist and young, and one patient who has lost his crown assigned it to me. During the examination, I found that the crown, underneath the crown, the prepared part of the tooth, the dentin, is all rotten and gone, just empty. And the crown, that caused the crown fall off. So when I saw the crown, it was beautifully made crown, so it's a fall off. So I was so curious.
How old was it? How long had that crown been on?
But 2 years prior.
Oh,
that
2 years.
one.
Okay,
Yeah,
so not very
only
long.
the 2 years.
Okay.
How come it should last, in my philosophy from my education, it should last forever.
Hopefully.
That's too much,
Yes,
but
might be
anyway,
too much.
long time.
Yes.
But expected, but just 2 years later, under the crown, the dentin is all rotten and fall off. So that makes me, why it happens? We try to help the
Right.
people. What happens? That is the beginning of a lifelong the research about
Right.
the crown seating. So that become my mission, that kind of mission that I should solve it. That's my personality. Once I have I have the problem, so
Right.
I have to solve it. So that is my lifelong project to that.
Well, it's a worthwhile one. It's worth having because crown and bridge is a big part of what dentists do
Yes.
day in and day out, and we need to be able to get complete seating of those
Right.
restorations.
So first thing I thought was that crown was made short. So I checked every crown I have from the lab. I checked the margin every time. So I found that they make a little short, a little long, and I adjusted, tried to make it perfect. But the more research, I found that the decay under the crown mostly caused by the heavy proximal contact. So crown was not seated completely.
Right.
So it was not done complete marginal seating.
Right.
That's the major cause of the decay under the crown.
Yep.
And then how can I make this the contact just right? And I found that I did the research of the many literatures, and I found that 88% of the interproximal contact has microscopic clearance. So when we restore the crown or the fillings, we have to restore the microscopic clearance or
Right.
passive contact. I call it interproximal relief.
Relief, right.
So every time I do restoration, I thinking about how can I restore the
Right.
interproximal relief. That is the method, principle of the method of the
Right.
restorative strip system of contact easy.
Because we're taught to think, or at least I ended up thinking, that adjacent teeth, boom, are pushed together like this. Not quite like gears because there's no
Right.
teeth on them, but they're tight because the thing we always want to avoid at all costs is the open contact where the patient's getting food
Right.
caught in there constantly, and now it's a periodontal problem and probably recurrent
Right.
decay. And so I think we tend to think as dentists, I used to certainly, that boom, we want these teeth together as tight
Right.
as possible, but that's not reality. We don't realize that teeth are moving throughout the day. I've seen
Right.
studies where they are checking contacts with dental floss to see how many
Right.
pounds of pressure to get through.
Right.
And it takes more pressure to get through in the morning on the same maxillary teeth than it does in the afternoon
Right.
because of the way teeth shift. So at the laboratory, one of the neat things when we started digitally designing crowns was we started designing all our crowns with that physiologic relief. So 10 microns open was the parameter.
Right.
And so dentists hear that you're designing their crowns 10 microns open contact, and they go, well, isn't that going to be an open contact? And we're like, well, no, we measured all the commercially available dental floss brands,
Mm-hmm.
and most dental floss brands are 60 microns thick.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So even if you design contacts that are 10 microns open, the floss still snaps through. If it's
Right.
65 microns thick, it clicks and it snaps through, and it feels like a closed contact. So
Right.
closed contact does not mean the teeth have to be in heavy
No.
approximation
No.
touching like that,
Right.
because the downside of that is, as you said, the tighter the contacts are, the less the chance the crown's going to fit. Because most crowns, if you look at it on the die, if you give your lab a good impression and you make a margin which is visible that they
Right,
can see,
right.
and you take a good impression, they're going to make a crown that fits the margins of the die. Now, if it won't go to place in the mouth, it's like 95% because of
Right.
the contacts. And if you adjust both the contacts and make them wide open, the crown will sit right down.
Right.
It's not usable
No.
anymore, but it'll sit right down. So
Right.
that concept of physiologic relief, I had seen that you had talked about that when seating crowns before, and how we need to have, we're not trying to cram everything
No.
together. We don't want a crown to push down as tight as it can. That's just not the way the human body, at least teeth,
Okay.
were designed. So when we started designing the crowns, 10 microns open, the complaints to the laboratory about I had to adjust the contacts of the crown too much, they went way down.
Right.
And so I know that what you're talking about is true, because we've seen it statistically in the dental laboratory.